Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. My name is Jace Ritchie with another episode of Mic Drop. I have a really good one for you this week. It's kind of a long-awaited album from this guy. On this week's episode, we have Essex Honey, the sixth long-playing record from English singer, songwriter, producer, composer, director, multi-instrumentalist, Devonte Hines, aka Blood Orange, and formerly, before that, Lightspeed Champion. Hines grew up in London, around the post-punk and the more experimental scenes in the UK, which really comes through heavily in many of his projects, especially his earlier works. Now, before his work under Lightspeed Champion and previous to perfecting his musical vision as Blood Orange, Devonte Hines started contributing guitar, synth, and occasional vocals to an experimental rock group called none other than the Test Icicles. We've all got to start somewhere though, right? I mean, needless to say, the Test Icicles didn't last long, having only recorded one full-length LP in 2005. But after the disbandment of Test Icicles, Hines set his sights on a solo act, Lightspeed Champion. I was doing some research about his work under Lightspeed Champion, and get this, he recorded his debut album in none other than Omaha, Nebraska. Ain't that epic? That album was called Falling Off the Lavender Bridge. I didn't even know Omaha had a recording studio. That's actually pretty awesome. Might be somewhere worth looking into to work maybe someday for me. The studio is called Saddle Creek Records. If you guys have ever heard about it, I never have. Lightspeed Champion, though, is much more of a folk, acoustic-centric project, kind of akin to like Bon Iver. But if you kind of like that style of music more, I highly encourage you to check it out because I think it's pretty cool. Aside from Falling Off the Lavender Bridge, Hines went on to release only one more album under Lightspeed Champion, until ultimately retiring the project to shift his focus more onto Blood Orange, which is what he is doing now. Blood Orange is where we see Hines' influence of R&B and electronic styles come into full effect. And where earlier Blood Orange projects contained more vibrant, groove-driven tracks, many songs on Essex Honey are much more mellow and moodier due to the nature of the theme of the record, which I will get into coming up. So starting with track number 1, Look At You. The intro track, Look At You, eases into this album with Hines' beautifully layered and richly reverberated vocals. It's very atmospheric and almost cinematic the way that he went about mixing his vocals on top of the layers of instrumentals that he put onto this first track. His lyrics on this track waste no time cluing you in on his message of the album, with lines like, "How can I start my day knowing the truth about love and loss of youth?" It's kind of poetic. It seems very interpersonal, like he wrote this at a time where he might have been grappling with growing up, maybe. I think a lot of us can probably attest to that, or not attest. I think a lot of us can connect with that. Growing up isn't always easy and not always fun, but it's just something we have to do. And it seems like on this album, or more so just on this track in particular, he was kind of working through that himself. This is your first Blood Orange record you're listening to. It very well might not be your favorite thing in the world. It's not. It's a very situational listen, is what I'll say. You got to be in the right kind of in the headspace, in the right mood. But overall, for me personally, this track serves a pretty good welcome into this project. Number 2, Thinking Clean. Thinking Clean offers a bit of a more upbeat, almost anxious sound. It opens with a piano-led structure with a hi-hat over the top that drives the rhythm pretty fiercely. Once again, though, the refrain in this track is pretty blunt and in your face. A line that says, pretty simply, "I don't want to be here anymore." which, like I said before, if you're not in the mood for something so emotionally heavy, the first couple of songs on this album may not be your jam. And, whenever I first listened to it, I kind of felt the same way. It didn't really stick with me too much at first. But going back and kind of listening to it on different days, it I don't know, it kind of began to hit more home with me. So track number 3, Somewhere in Between. This track indulges in some nice layered textures, dreamy synths, and a guitar riff that's almost Stevie Wonder adjacent, I would say. Somewhere in Between showcases Hines' talent as a multi-instrumentalist, like as I described him earlier, as he weaves cello, piano, strings, horns, all into one track. It weaves together so well. It's an interesting combination of instruments, but they groove together, I would say. The lyrics on this cut sort of seems like he's having a conversation, as he starts with the question, and in the middle of your life, could you have taken some more time? Which again plays to battle of youth versus adulthood. I don't know. It may be a bit of a stretch to put a label on it like that, but that's just what I felt from that lyric in particular.
Hey, we are doing a basketball lesson today, and I'm so nervous I could throw up right now. Mine doesn't go around as nice as yours
Number 4, The Field. The Field is a highly collaborative track, probably the first one on this album that has such an extensive feature list. Starting off, it features singer-songwriter Caroline Polachek, and she's of an indie pop band Chairlift. I'd never heard of that band, but I've heard of her before listening to this album. So I didn't even know she was in a separate band. The second feature on this song is R&B and soul producer Tariq Al-Sabir, who I've never heard of before. And then a third R&B and soul artist, Devin Caesar. And then actually there's also a guitar riff interpolation, which an interpolation it's a riff of another piece of music stripped directly from the song. So obviously it has to be credited to that band. But yeah, there's a guitar riff interpolation by an English post-punk band called the Durutti Column, whom I've also never heard of before this. So by bringing all these features, I feel like it really also gives us a deep dive into what he likes as an artist as well, which is also pretty cool to see artists do, because usually if it's a feature, they're normally friends of the artist, which is fine, because if they're friends, they obviously work well making music together. But if you're taking an interpolation like that from another band, it gives us a look into his creative forces behind this album. The Field excellently layers the guest vocals without overshadowing Hines' own. In contrast to the other 3 songs, The Field is much more memorable, as it's an easier listen in my opinion, compared to the heavier and moodier tones that were brought to the previous 3 tracks. Track number 5, Mind Loaded, was the 3rd single of this album. Mind Loaded once again has Caroline Polachek featured, with the additions of Lord and Mustafa, whom I've never heard of Mustafa either. Having these songs sort of more towards the middle of the album, I think is a really good change of pace. Because, you know, the first 3 songs were they're kind of sad, honestly. So having it be here in the project creates a kind of a breath of relief almost. Track number 6, Vivid Light. Drawing out Hines' R&B style is Vivid Light. As the track enters with a crisp drum beat under Hines' vocals, it gives the song a quiet yet intense mood. The minimal composition of the song really allows his voice and the instrumentation to breathe, which again is a really nice change up if you're into that kind of more. It's not rap per se, and it's not really even a trap beat, but it's more of like a hip hop ish type production, which I really enjoy.
Now for a quick coffee break.
Welcome to the Union Coffee Shop. Located right on the first floor of the Union here at Northeast Community College, the coffee shop is happy to serve. Whether you're looking for a quick grab-and-go bite to eat between classes, a comfortable spot to enjoy a warm latte or tea and do homework, or you're simply looking for a place to hang out with your friends and relax for a while, the Union Coffee Shop has your back. There's no shortage of different flavors to try, and the folks preparing your drinks do it with speed and accuracy to ensure your beverages are to your perfection. Stop by and enjoy a fresh Starbucks coffee and a sweet treat. Or, if coffee isn't your jam, no worries. The Union Coffee Shop has an assortment of different energy drinks to get you that pep in your step. The Union Coffee Shop, your one-stop shop to a great semester.
Number 7, Countryside. Countryside is a song I think a lot of people can get behind. You know, it's a theme of wanting to obviously get somewhere quieter. Hines is originally from the UK, but he now resides in New York. So, I mean, it touches on his longing to get away from maybe not only the urban life for a time, but also the emotional turmoil that a big city can bring. For example, the line, "Take me away to that countryside, in the fields trying to hide," describes that longing. I know for me, even just living in Lincoln before moving to Norfolk, you know, there were times that I just had to, I had to go hunting, or I had to go fishing, or I had to go somewhere that wasn't Lincoln as a city, because, you know, everybody just needs that mental break. Number 8, The Last of England. Definitely the most emotionally direct track on the album. It opens with a field recording, actually, of Hines and his mother at their last Christmas together. And if you don't know what a field recording is, it's basically a voice memo, essentially. You know, you go out with just your phone, or maybe, you know, if you have to, just a small recording device, and just record what's around you. Record your environment, or anything you might think you would want to later use, or maybe even just have around. And that's what he did. I believe he took his phone and he recorded audio from him and his mother having a conversation during their last Christmas together, as his mother passed away, I believe, in 2023. He later goes on to sing about Ilford, his hometown in London. Perhaps not a song with much replay or savability because of how emotionally driven it is, but it's certainly one of the album's cores as a project. As I believe that's kind of what he was leaning towards, is kind of just reflecting on his life, basically. Number 9, Life. There couldn't have been a better mid-album choice, especially coming off of something frankly so depressing as The Last of England. For me, it's effectively a breath of relief with its jazz-like saxophones and synths. Definitely a lighter song musically. Yeah, there's no way else to put it. This track is definitely a much happier, upbeat song, and definitely worth a listen, even just as a standalone song if you didn't want to That being said, honestly, the second half of this album kind of dropped off for me, and that could be partly due to the nature of it. Like I said before, it's a very emotional album, and you kind of have to be in the right headspace for the whole thing. You got to be locked in order to really get behind and understand where he's coming from with a lot of these songs. But the second half I didn't really find all that exciting. The musical keys and features and overall energy was kind of lost on me. And to put it bluntly, I thought it was a bit boring. Now, not to say that you think different. So don't let me persuade you differently of going and checking out the album, because it's a very good album. But I mean, yeah, to kind of end it off on a better note, I'll say the second half of the album at least brings the story that Hines is trying to tell to a pretty cohesive and definite close. So it's definitely not a holdout. Overall, I'd probably give this album a 6 out of 10. The front half of the album was killer. I mean, it was just it's exactly what I wanted from another Blood Orange record to start off with. And I'm not that big of a fan. Like, I haven't listened to a lot of his earlier albums front to back, but the 6 out of 10 comes from the front of the album outshining the back. And I think that's kind of how it should be. Like, you know, if you have an album that is good in the first half but not the second, I think you did a good job making the album. Thank you so much for tuning in again to another episode of Mic Drop. Leave a like and a comment on what you want reviewed next, and I'll catch you next time.